Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Reading from Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, Adi Lila, Chapter 3, Text 96. Prakatiya dekhe Acarya sakala samsara Krishna bhakti gandhahina vishaya vyavahara. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Advaita Acarya having appeared, he found the world devoid of devotional service to Sri Krishna because people were engrossed in material affairs. Text number 97. Keha pape keha punya kare vishaya bhoga bhakti gandha nahi yati yaya bhavaroga. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. Purport. Advaita Acharya saw the entire world to be engaged in activities of material piety and impiety without a trace of devotional service or Krishna consciousness anywhere. The fact is that in this material world, there is no scarcity of anything except Krishna consciousness. Material necessities are supplied by the mercy of the Supreme Lord. We sometimes feel scarcity because of our mismanagement, but the real problem is that people are out of touch with Krishna consciousness. Everyone is engaged in material sense gratification, but people have no plan for making an ultimate solution to their real problems, namely birth, disease, old age, and death. These four material miseries are called bhavarog or material diseases. They can be cured only by Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for human society. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmanitamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hare Krishna to all of you. So, very powerful verses. Usually preparing for Caitanya Caritamrta is a little tough. Because it's very high level, like Srila Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Gita, high school level, Bhagavatam graduate. Caitanya Caritamrta is postgraduate level. For someone like me who's just done materially high school, postgraduate is a far-fetched thing. So here we see knowledge about Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the previous verses, he has explained who is Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu. He is an incarnation of Mahavishnu. Advaita means non-dual, which means non-different from the Supreme Lord. And we know Acharya is a teacher, someone who teaches Krishna consciousness. And he's also considered, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu is also considered as Lord's partial incarnation or plenary portion. We learned this in chapter 1 of Adi Lila. So just as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had come down, he appeared as a devotee to teach us how to love Krishna. Similarly, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu also came down as a devotee to set an example. And his only mission was to distribute knowledge of Krishna consciousness and also to propagate devotion to Krishna. How one can perform devotional service in such a way that one can develop love for Krishna. You see, in the initial stages, Krishna consciousness or devotional service is mostly like a ritual. Oh, I have to chant my 16 rounds. I'm supposed to read. I'm supposed to eat prasadam. So it's just theoretical. But later on, as one starts chanting attentively, oh, I hear about this in every lecture that I hear. Wherever I go, it's attentive chanting. Sorry to say, but I keep repeating that in every class, attentive chanting, because that is what is going to lead a devotee to that pure stage of love for Krishna. So Sri Advaita Acarya Prabhu, he came to give us the process. First of all, make us understand it's important to be Krishna conscious, and how do we become Krishna conscious? How do we become conscious of Krishna? So there is a step-by-step process. So when Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu came, he noticed that the whole world was devoid of devotional service to Krishna. People were only engaged in sense gratification, how to enjoy the senses, how to enjoy this body, how to give pleasure to the mind and the senses. And they were so engrossed in material enjoyment that they were not interested in devotional service at all. There was no sign of spirituality in anyone's life. They actually had no goal in life. We have heard from Srila Prabhupada that this human form of life is given to us to break the cycle of birth and death, to understand that the goal of human life is to become Krishna conscious and go back to the spiritual world. But, everyone, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu noticed, everyone is so deep into Maya, so deep into enjoying the senses. He could see that there was no sign of Krishna consciousness or devotional service anywhere. Srila Prabhupada says, everything is there in the material world, except Krishna consciousness. Everything is there. And that is what he noticed. Krishna, we know, has supplied us with all the necessities that we may need. Now the important word is necessities, not greediness. He has given us what we need, not what we greed. You see, need, very easy to, fulfill. Greed, there is no limit at all. The more we want, the more we get, the more we want. So greed is something that can never be satisfied. It is said that we can satisfy an angry person, a hungry person, a thirsty person, but never a greedy person. They want more and more and more. There's no satisfaction. Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Say there is a sack of grains lying on the street. What will the birds do? They will come and they'll just pick as much as they want. They're happy, satisfied, and they'll fly away. If a human being is walking from there, he'll take the whole sack and take it home. Why? Yes, I need a little today. But what about tomorrow? What about day after? What about a month? Let me keep the whole sack in my house that can feed me for a long time. That is greed. Why not just take what is necessary, not what we, are hankering for? So Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, he noticed that mostly people were materialistic, and besides being materialistic, they were complaining all the time because they were not satisfied. Now, Bhagavad Gita teaches us material things cannot bring satisfaction to us. We are spiritual beings in a human body. We are not human beings. We are spiritual beings in a human body. We are experiencing as a human being. But originally, we are spiritual beings. So, satisfaction will come only with Krishna consciousness. So, Srila Prabhupada says that the reason people complain and are not satisfied because there is scarcity which is felt due to mismanagement. People don't know how to manage their time. There is time mismanagement. They don't have priorities. Even if they do, they are not set properly. The focus, is not on what is important. Their focus is on what that is not important at all. So there is time mismanagement also. I even hear from devotees, yesterday was Ekadashi. So, it's Ekadashi, which means chanting more rounds than 16 rounds. How? There is no time. Well, that is time mismanagement. If we manage the time properly, if we set our priorities right, then we will be able to focus on bhakti, on devotional service. So, Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna consciousness is most important. And the real problem is people are out of touch of Krishna consciousness. Why? Because there's not enough devotee association. They don't take devotee association. It's not that devotees are going to come, knock on our door and say, here we are, let's associate. No, we have to make that effort to associate with devotees. And when we associate with devotees, we remain in touch with Krishna consciousness. So now $1 million question. Are we in touch with Krishna consciousness? This is a very valid and a very important question. Need to think about it, need to contemplate on it. Am I trying hard to associate with devotees? Am I reading Srila Prabhupada's books regularly? You see? Or is it that I'm performing devotional service on autopilot? If you remember, I think Parikshit Prabhu had talked about chanting on autopilot. But let's see, are we performing devotional service on autopilot? That, I get up, do this and do that and that. But where is being in touch with the Supreme Lord? Are we conscious, especially when we are chanting? Are we conscious? Are we awake? Are we aware that right now I am chanting the holy names of the Lord? Very, very important, because you see, the mind keeps traveling all over the universe. Not just this world, but everywhere. Let me go to Mars, let me go to Moon, let me go here, let me go there. The mind is traveling all the time. It's traveling even while chanting. What do we do? What is the solution? Srila Prabhupada says, whenever the mind starts wandering while chanting, bring it back. Then when we keep bringing the mind back, the mind will get trained that it needs to stay quiet and calm when one is chanting. Just like we train the children. We discipline the children. This is right, this is wrong, do this, don't do that. Then the child learns how to be disciplined. That's the same with the mind. Mind is like a child. We need to train it, otherwise it's going to hop like a monkey from one branch to another. So are we aware when we are chanting the holy names? We have to be present. That is why attentive chanting is important. So it's important to have a self-evaluation periodically. Evaluate oneself how are we progressing on the spiritual path? How much devotional service are we performing? Are we in touch with Krishna? Only when we are in touch with Krishna that we will be able to spread this knowledge to others, preach to others. We can understand that people in this material world are suffering. There are so many miseries in this life. There is birth, disease, old age, death, suffering caused by mind and body, suffering caused by other living entities, and suffering caused by material nature. So when people are suffering in this material world, then it is important that if we have the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita, then we give it to others. We explain to them, we help them out, give them knowledge about Krishna consciousness. Because when we do that, as per Bhagavad Gita, last chapter, 18th chapter, Krishna says he's very pleased. He says, there is no one more dear to me than one who spreads my glories. So Sri Advaita Acarya Prabhu, he noticed that people are just running after what? About running after Krishna? No, they're running after sense gratification. They are enjoying and they are suffering, then they are enjoying, they are suffering, and they have no idea how to end the suffering. They don't have solution to the real problems of life. They don't know how to break the cycle of birth and death. They don't know how to be permanently happy. You see, we have the formulas given to us in the Bhagavad Gita, how to be peaceful, how to be happy, how to break the cycle of birth and death, and be permanently happy. In the material world, happiness has a beginning and it has an end. It's never permanent. And that is why people are not satisfied. That is why they keep complaining. I notice nowadays even the children are complaining. I want this, I don't have that, and that one has something better than me, I want it. So there's complaining going on all the time. You see, in the Bhagavad Gita, we learned that this material body, it goes through 6 stages, right? First there is birth, then it grows, the body grows, then it stays for some time, then it produces byproducts like children, then it starts dwindling like old age, and then finally it vanishes, which is death, you see. So this body is going through all these 6 stages, but the spirit soul within the heart stays the same. Unfortunately, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu noticed that people don't even know what is their destination after death. They have no knowledge, and what's the worst part? They're not interested in it. So many times we approach people, we see them suffering, and we tell them, how we tell them we can give you knowledge by which you will be able to break the cycle of misery, but they are not interested. What they are interested in is sense gratification, how I can enjoy this body, how I can enjoy my friends and relatives and family, etc. Thereof these, Prabhupada says, these 4 miseries, they are like material diseases. Does anyone like to be diseased? I don't think so. As soon as one sees that, I have this disease, immediately they run to the doctor because they want to cure that disease. So that we are talking about material disease. What about, as far as spirituality is concerned? People who want to get rid of this disease of material miseries, Prabhupada says cure is Krishna consciousness. As soon as we start becoming conscious of Krishna, as soon as we start performing devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, following the process given to us in the scriptures, you see, when we do that, then one will be able to get the ultimate cure. Towards the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada, he says that Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for us. Greatest. There's nothing greater than greatest. That means it's top level. So, if Krishna consciousness or devotion to Krishna is the greatest benediction, then the $1,000,000 question is, are we serious about it? Are we taking it up seriously? Are we performing our devotional service seriously? Or is our devotional service part-time? When and if I have time, I will do some bhakti, I will do some devotion. I'll just follow the process if and when I have the time. You see, in the material world, people are busy making plans, material plans, right? That, okay, I am at this age, by this age, this is what I want to achieve, whether it is personally, professionally, whatever it may be. Making material plans. I remember when my husband and I were preaching in Mumbai, we used to go to the outskirts of Mumbai, the suburbs, about 2-hour train ride. We would go there in a small place just to teach Bhagavad Gita. And the family that used to host the program, the gentleman, the head of the family, as it is called, the husband or the father, he had many material plans. He had plans for his 3 children, at what age they would get married, at what age they will have babies, and at what age he would, save X amount of money, etc., etc. So my question to him was, where are your spiritual plans? These are all material plans. You have a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan and a 15-year plan. And later on, I came to know, we moved to the US, and then I came to know the son did not follow that plan. The son married whomsoever he wanted to marry, whenever he wanted to marry, and had children whenever he wanted. So his material plans did not succeed. So we kept telling him, please make some spiritual plans. And when he started, taking up Krishna consciousness seriously, he started chanting 16 rounds. His wife pulled him down, said, what's wrong with you? We have so many material plans. What's going to happen? And we tried to explain you can do both simultaneously. You see? Like my husband and I, we worked for many, many years, and at the same time continued on the spiritual path. It's possible. What did Krishna tell Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita? He didn't tell him, no, you give up your kingdom, you go to the Himalayas and you sit and meditate and you do devotional service to me. No. He said, you're a kshatriya, you're a soldier, you got to fight, do your duty. But do it in my consciousness. Try to do your prescribed duty with me in mind, with Krishna in mind. That is Krishna consciousness. So we need to also have spiritual plans, okay? Today I am at this level on my devotional service path, on my spiritual path. After 1 week or after a month, I want to be here. After 1 year, I want to be there. You see, those spiritual plans need to be there. And okay, once we make, then we need to figure out, how do I get there? Right? Just making plan is not sufficient. We also need to have a plan how to execute our spiritual plan. Of course, as we know, we have noticed, there are going to be obstacles. There are always obstacles on the material path. Definitely there will be on the spiritual path as well. And that is why we need guidance from a bona fide spiritual master, from a bona fide Acarya. Sri Advaita Acarya Prabhu is called Acarya because he teaches us how to love Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says people are not making plans how to solve the real problem. What's the real problem? Birth, disease, old age, death. and they are only running after sense gratification. But Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu is so merciful. He is an incarnation of Mahavishnu, came down to deliver us. He saw our condition. This is more than 500 years ago. He saw our condition and he wanted to help us. He wanted to show us the path by which we can be permanently happy. In fact, he wanted to teach us the purpose of human form of life. Human form is not for eat, sleep, and be merry. No. Human form is meant for self-realization, to understand, to realize, who am I? I am not this body. This body is like the garment that I'm wearing. This body is a garment for the soul. It's covering the soul. We are actually the spirit soul. This is a basic knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. And what is the purpose of the spirit soul in the heart? Purpose of the soul is to relieve itself from this material bondage, to come out of this material body, attain a spiritual body, and go to the spiritual world. That is the purpose. And Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, he came to teach us that. He came to teach us the purpose of human form of life. In fact, he felt sorry for our condition in this material world. No one was interested in spirituality. No one was interested in performing devotional service to the Supreme Lord. And this forgetfulness of ours was overwhelming for him. How compassionate of him. You see, the Supreme Lord Krishna, he comes sometimes, and sometimes he sends his incarnations, or sometimes he sends his direct representatives. For what? To guide us, to show us the way. So this forgetfulness of people in general was overwhelming for him, and he was convinced that he needs to come down and teach us Krishna consciousness, to enlighten us about Krishna. Srila Prabhupada says a devotee is para dukha dukhi. He cannot see others suffer. You see, in the material world, when people see others suffering, they are happy because they are not suffering. But a devotee of the Lord feels pain in the heart, feels suffering himself or herself when they see others are suffering. So Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, he decided that, okay, I would like to help the conditioned souls. So he sat down, took some tulasi leaves, and took the water of the holy river Ganges, and he sat down to worship the Supreme Lord. He started requesting the Supreme Lord to please come down on this earthly planet and help all these conditioned souls. Teach them how to love Krishna. So he was not just requesting, he was crying out. He was crying out to the Lord, please, please come down and help all these people. And because of his cry, Krishna was very satisfied, and he descended 500 years ago as Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. You see, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu, being Mahavishnu, he knew how to please the Lord. What does Krishna say in the Bhagavad Gita? Patram pushpam phalam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. This is how we can please the Lord, by offering him flower, fruit, water, or leaf with love and devotion. And that is what he did. He offered tulasi leaf and he offered Ganges water. And along with that was his devotion, his crying out, and that is what pleased the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada says that even the poorest of poor can please the Lord. Because all they have to do is just offer a flower or a leaf or fruit or water. You don't need to, spend thousands of dollars to please the Lord. Just a simple process, but the most important ingredient is love and devotion. That is what Krishna accepts. He is pleased. So when the Supreme Lord was pleased, he descended. He descended as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was the principal reason why the Lord came down. It's because Sri Advaita Acarya Prabhu cried out and begged him to please come down. So his worship with Tulasi and Ganga water was very powerful. So you see, Prabhupada says Krishna, he appears at the plea of his devotee. So we can imagine that devotees are so dear to the Lord. And because of Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu's call, Krishna came down and he taught us how to become Krishna conscious. See, when we are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When we are chanting this Maha Mantra, when we are doing this mantra meditation, when we do it with love and devotion, we are actually crying out to the Supreme Lord, please engage me in your service. Please help me to come out of this material bondage. Relieve me from these material miseries and take me back to Godhead. You see, Srila Prabhupada has given us all the tools that we need to become Krishna conscious. All we have to do is just use these tools and save ourselves. In the purport that we read today, Srila Prabhupada, he says that this material disease that we have can be cured by Krishna consciousness. Very, very simple. All we need to do is take on this knowledge from the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Caitanya Caritamrta, read Srila Prabhupada books, get the knowledge and put it into practice. And if we have guidance from a spiritual teacher, that's the best thing. Because they can show us the way how we can cure this material disease. And towards the end of the purport, Srila Prabhupada says, this Krishna consciousness is the greatest benediction for us. Greatest benediction. So we are very, very fortunate, all of us who are, listening, hearing Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, all of us who are performing devotional service on a daily basis, regularly. We are very, very fortunate that we are on this path. Imagine what would we be doing right now if we did not have access to this knowledge. It's a scary thought. Actually, it's a very scary thought. So, since we have been blessed to be in association of devotees, we are blessed to have this knowledge which is a treasure house. Let us take full advantage of it. Make sure, we contemplate on our level of devotion. Let us contemplate on how much serious am I on this spiritual path. And then once we do that, if we have trouble trying to self-evaluate, then we can take guidance from a senior devotee, a devotee who can guide us. And also give us some, as they call the tips, good tips on how we can elevate ourselves in Krishna consciousness. What is Krishna consciousness? It is a process by which Krishna becomes conscious of us. That, here is my devotee who's really trying hard, sincerely and seriously to love me. And that is when the blessing comes from the Supreme Lord. So since we have this golden opportunity of being in association of devotees and practicing spirituality, then let us become more and more serious. So today's two verses are, Advaita Acarya having appeared, he found the world devoid of devotional service to Sri Krishna because people were engrossed in material affairs. Everyone was engaged in material enjoyment, whether sinfully or virtuously. No one was interested in the transcendental service of the Lord, which can give total relief from the repetition of birth and death. So this is how these two verses end. I will stop now, and before I do that, actually this would be my last class. I'm sorry, because I'm going to India and I will be back in October. So if anyone has any questions or comments, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mother Gita, for such a wonderful